In this video, we're going to take a look at the Stihl imow. There's currently two models available here in the United States, the RMI422P and the RMI632P. And these are something that, they've been here in the United States for a little while. Here in 2018, they're going to be popping up a little bit more, more dealers are going to start carrying them. You'll see them at a few of the John Deere dealers, a few of the Stihl dealers. They're still staying pretty select with it, and the nice thing about this is they're making you go through a real process if you want to start selling these, because they don't want to ruin the integrity of the product, which is definitely a good thing. We're going to take a look at these two models here. Just get a kind of an idea of what's what, just kind of like an introduction to them. As you can see, they're the typical Stihl orange. But for any of you that have looked into robotic mowers before, they might look kind of familiar to you. And that's because these are the same mowers that they sell over in Europe under the Viking name. Over there, they're just green instead of the orange, and they don't have the Stihl name on them. They just have the Viking name on them. But they go by the same model numbers and everything. So a few more models available over there in Europe. They only have the two here in the United States as of the moment. So here's a look at the control part of the mower. As you can see, there's a knob to adjust the height of cut. That's a standard on both models. You can see there's a little screen right there that'll give you all your information. That's where you can go in there and change your settings and stuff. And this panel here, you can see a line around this control panel area. And that line you're seeing, around here is because you can actually lift this up out of there, and it has a short cord. So you can stand there and hold that and program everything instead of being hunched over, while you're pressing all the buttons on it. This is a look underneath the imow, and you can see there, that's the blade area right there. This has like a regular style mulching blade on it. It doesn't have the razor blades on it, like a Husqvarna Automower or the Honda has. This one has an actual mulching blade on it. The manufacturer does not recommend that you sharpen it. They recommend you use that blade for around 200 hours or so, and then just dispose it. And the reason that they don't recommend you sharpening it is because it needs to be precise. It needs to be precisely balanced to keep the vibration down, to keep the noise down, and all that good stuff. So yeah, they just recommend that you replace that blade. Doesn't take a whole lot to do that. Pretty simple. That blade, from what I understand, from what I've heard and priced, it's anywhere from like $15 to $18 for that blade. You can get the whole kit. It comes with the shield, the blade, and some other hardware if you want to replace all that. But not really a big deal to do. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and just a common thing. Blade wears down, throw it out, put a new one on there. Alright, so here we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the two robotic mowers. You can see here, these are the factory specs for the two models available here in the United States, for the RMI422P and the RMI632P. They rate the 422 for 1/4 acre and 1 acre for the 632. Now, these have a setup similar to the automowers. If you've watched some of our videos, of them, where they have the perimeter wire that you have to put in, either stake it to the ground or bury it in the ground. So that's just basically a reference point there. It's going to come down to the same determining factors with these mowers as it does with the other ones, where you need the mower to be able to pick up that signal. So if you use a lot of wire, if you have a lot of islands that you have to make, do a lot of weaving in and out for your perimeter and things like that, you're going to use a lot more wire. You're going to cut down on the signal strength and the current running through that wire. So that could be a determining factor. There's a few other things that'll go into it, which, if you've studied or looked into anything with the robotic mowers, this is a typical thing with any brand. So not a whole lot to talk about there. The average mowing duration, again, that depends on the size of the area that you're cutting. That's a rough estimate for what they're figuring on for that size of land. But again, it depends on how many trees you have. It depends on how many islands you have. How many obstacles are there. If you've got hills, things like that. Battery capacity, you can see that battery capacity of the 632 is a little over double the capacity of the 422. So we got a bigger battery in there, which allows for the longer work time. Pretty self-explanatory there. The amp hours, of course, are going to be higher in the 632 because it's a bigger battery. Cutting height, same across the board there for both models. And this is pretty standard for a robotic mower. Height here just over 3/4 of an inch up to about 2.5 inches. That's a typical thing for robotic mowers from what we're seeing from all these other models. So cutting width, now there is a variation there between the two of them. You got the 11-inch disc, or the 11-inch blade, sorry, on the 632, and a just under 8-inch blade on the 422. So that's a pretty important thing right there, because you go to order a blade, you want to make sure you get the right one, since this isn't like the other ones that have the razor blades where one size fits all and you just put 3 of them on there and off you go. The average mow time per battery charge, 1 hour for the 422, but 150 minutes for the 632. So between the two of them, 150 minutes compared to 60, that's a no-brainer. Maximum degree of slope, 22 degrees for the 422 and 24 degrees for the 632. Now, that's what's recommended. Of course, it's all going to depend on the conditions, if it's wet, things like that. But they do make a like a rugged terrain kit, with the tires with the deeper tread that you can put on these, and that'll help it on the hills a little bit. But of course, there's a difference in weight because you got the bigger battery in the 632, so, and you got the bigger blade on it, all that stuff. So 9-pound difference. Dimensions, these are about the same size as the other models out there on the market that the other manufacturers are making. So this wraps up our little introduction look here at the 2 models of the Stihl imow robotic mowers. We didn't want to get too deep into them because we got a couple comparison videos we're working on, and we want to save some of that there. Way it's just fresh in your mind as we're comparing it. But we want to do this just so if you're out somewhere and you see one of these, you got an idea what you're looking at, or if you want to get a chance to go check one out, if you can find a John Deere dealer or a Stihl dealer that's carrying them, that way you can go take a look at them. And next time we're breaking these things down and talking about what we like, what we don't like, and comparing them to like the Honda Mimo or the Husqvarna Automower, you'll know what we're talking about and you'll have seen it for yourself. So again, they're still kind of rare, still kind of hard to come by. Not every dealer has one. Not every dealer is selling them. So you gotta go into the Stihl website and put in the information there to try to find a dealer nearby you. And there might not be one nearby you. I mean, it's tough to say because there's so few of them right now. But anyway, hope this gives you a little bit of idea of what's out there, and maybe piques your interest a little bit. And make sure to check back later on and look for our comparison videos that we're going to do. And thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you like this video.